is there deterministic way to identify when we will be able to reach that stage where we can, let's say, break RSA 2048? Is there maths behind it, or is there human effort behind it, in terms of we keep on doing research, we don't know when we will do a breakthrough or a small breakthrough, and then we will wait for another breakthrough? How does somebody define that, okay, even if you're using XYZ algorithm, you are safe to a certain extent, let's say 10 years or 20 years? Like, can we determine that? Because uh, companies that have anything to do with uh, crypto, or crypto as in uh, the actual crypto, not the media crypto,
Yeah, not that coins.
and quantum crypto, they create, they have to create, right, to sell their products, they have to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So I just want to understand that when is it that hell is going to break loose, and do we have enough time to work on it?
Right. Satyam, would you like to go first?
Sure. I'll share one part that, just to clarify, the math to specifically break RSA exists, the physics does not yet. So it is dependent to execute that math. I need the physics to work and the actual machine to be available. But we know exactly what we want to execute to break it. We are able to do it at small scale because that's where our physics is today. To ask the question when the physics will be ready, that we will be breaking these things, we don't know because there are unknowns. It has been said for the last 20 years that in the next 10 years it will happen, but it hasn't happened in the last 20 years. Uh, it Things have improved. I'm not saying we are at the same place as Ajit was giving the example of IBM. Where we were, we have improved, but we really don't have a future sort of prediction that when that will happen. So at least that's where we are today. Ajit, you want to add to that?
Yeah. So, Asim, as Satyam said, we have the maths with us to break RSA. We always had that, but we didn't had the physics, right? And we are seeing that physics is being developed. Okay, that is one. Second thing is we are not certain of the capabilities what these companies like D-Wave and Google or IBM, okay, or China for that instance has. Okay, people are very uh, secretive about it. Okay, and what we get to learn is from the public disclosures that these companies are making, or from whistleblowers, etc. Right, because this is such a power which people don't want to talk more about it. Okay, or even if they have, they will just talk very little about it, so that just to drop signals that we have that capability, but you keep guessing how much of capability we have, right? So that's the thing. So, and what remains to be discussed is, even if, let's say, someone has complete capability of breaking RSA 2048, which is practically we are using everywhere, okay, and 4096 as well. So can we break that? Okay, or how this can be leveraged? Is it even practically possible for someone to get everyone's public key and try to factorize that, etc.? So that is something which we have to discuss. So in 2018, that Black Hat, when this paper Crypto Apocalypse was disclosed, was presented, suddenly after that, the interest in quantum computers and this Crypto Apocalypse started to be discussed, right? And various companies jumped into action to give protection against this quantum computer threat, right? But yeah, a lot of things has to be discussed, but we are not sure whether already people have it. People can build those capabilities in a very short time, or they don't have it, they are just dropping the message. We are really not sure about that.
Okay, all right, so let's come to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So from from what I know of blockchain generally, I think there are two places where crypto is used. There may be more. I'm not a blockchain expert, but one is the PKI, where you have a private key and a public key, and then which is derived by 12 words, 24 words, or whatever the wallets specify. And one is used for hashing, I'm assuming for the blocks, right? And so, if I'm not wrong, Bitcoin uses, I don't know, RSA 2048 and SHA, I don't know SHA what number, but yeah. So
Riksha is the best, the best.
yeah. So that falls under the same category in terms of we don't know when we will break the encryption, right? So maybe you want to quickly give a brief overview of the crypto used in the crypto. So whenever I say crypto, it feels like the word hacking, the original meaning and the media meaning.
Yes,
Hackers
completely.
broke into company and stole data versus researchers doing something. So yeah, so give us a brief of how the crypto on the blockchain works.
Right. So this year when I was at DEF CON, we saw a big billboard at Crypto Privacy Village saying crypto means cryptography, right, and not cryptocurrency. But anyways, for this conversation, we will keep this word for interchanging the meanings however we need and we feel comfortable. Okay, so that's the disclosure. Okay,
let's call cryptography crypto, and let's call
cryptocurrency
blockchain. Okay. Blockchain and crypto.
Right. So Satyam, I will go first at it. Okay. So if I have to take blockchain, let's see what blockchain is comprising of. It comprises of blocks. What block comprises of is transactions. What transaction comprises of is every transaction defines an input and output block. Input block states that if let's say I'm Asim, okay, so Asim has received some 10 bitcoins from some previous transaction. So you have to give reference of that block and transaction. Okay.
I wish
that input. Have I understated that number? So I'm trying to spend that input in my output block. So in output block, I'm saying that I'm transferring this 10 bitcoins. Out of this 10 bitcoins, I'm transferring 5 to Murtuza and 5 to Antriksh. Let's say, okay, that is my output block. So this is one transaction. Okay. Now I have specified names that Asim had received 10 bitcoins in some transaction. Here you don't have actual names. Here you have public address, right? And again for Murtuza and Asim, Murtuza and Antriksh, you don't have their names. You have their public key. Okay. So Antriksh will give you his public address saying that transfer me the money on this public address, and Murtuza will give the same. Okay. And you had also given your public address. Now what is that public address? It is a derivation from your public key. Okay. So now what is that public key? It is not RSA. Okay. It is ECDSA, and there is a very specific Sec 256P, Sec P256K, some jumbling over there. Yeah. So that is the specific curve that Bitcoin uses. Okay. And that also can be broken using quantum computers because it's a finite field problem. So as it is applicable for this RSA, similarly, it is applicable for elliptical curve as well, right? Now, if we are disclosing our public key, then anyone can take that public key, right? Now, remember, you have transferred the money to or bitcoins to Antriksh and Murtuza's keys, right? Now, if they have to spend it, they have to prove, they can write a transaction and they have to prove that I am in possession of the private key. So you have to submit a proof. How do you submit a proof? You sign this block that you have created, right? You have to sign with your private key and you have to disclose your public key. Okay. Before that, your public key is never disclosed. The public address you have, okay, it's your public key is scrambled. It is hashed at multiple times with SHA and with RIPE MD 160, etc. There are schemes to get the public address, right? So with those operations, you get the public address. From that public address, you can never get the public key. It's when you want to spend that amount, you create a transaction in which You give the public key and you sign that transaction. Sign means you take hash of the complete block and encrypt with your private key. So someone can verify that, and using the public key that you are disclosing, right? It's only at the time of spend you are disclosing the public key, right? Now, when you submit this transaction, spend transaction, it is sent to all the nodes which are processing that, okay, or all the miners, right? So miners will collect such transactions and they will validate one by one. They will validate, okay, you have said that you have received an input and you want to spend it. We want to see whether you have the keys for this input public address. Okay, so okay, you have signed it. Here is the signature, and here is the public key. So we'll verify it using this public key. If it is verified, then this transaction is valid, and we will put it in a block and we'll mine it. If we mine it successfully before all others and propagate to all others, then everyone will accept this as a next block, right? And I will get the whatever Coinbase is awarded with a valid block mined. I will get that as a miner. Okay, if I've processed a fraudulent block, I will not be getting that reward. Okay, so that's why it's incentivized to process a genuine block. Okay, so I can do that only if I have received your public key, right? Now this is the period when you have disclosed your public key. Someone can take that, run it through quantum computers, and reroute whatever you have spent. Suppose you want to give it to Murtuza and Antariksh. I can change the outgoing address and put my address and re-sign the transaction and submit it to all the nodes to verify and accept that new transaction as a valid transaction. Okay, so this is how I can hijack, but that time gap is very, very less. It's not practically possible. But anyways, there is that window when you are disclosing your public key, only then someone can grab that, recreate the transaction, and then publish it. Okay, so there is theoretically there is possibility, but practically it's not possible. That's what I think, and that was envisioned by Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever is that person or group of person is there. They had envisioned that blockchain quantum computers will be a reality in future, and we have that threat. So that's why they had designed in which you never disclose your public unless you want to spend those coins, right? I hope it gives you clarity on how the Bitcoin or blockchain based technology or cryptocurrencies work by and large.